Right about now.
right about now. Funk's old brother.
I'm
Here we
feeling
are.
sleepy, so you can expect a lively cast.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. We'll have to. Oh, hang on. Let me turn on my little. Whoop, the little background music thing. I've gotten so used to having this background music running just when I do anything. Any kind of. If I'm working, I run the lo-fi stuff. It's very good, chill music.
What is that you're using? Is that one that it's all like music that's free to use and copyright free,
Yeah,
beats the algorithm?
lo-fi
Kitty?
girl.
Lo-fi girl. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
lo-fi kitty or something.
That's very cool.
Picturing a cat icon.
It's
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. As you know, I've been ending all my podcasts with free to use music, which I think is awesome. That wasn't a thing. Remember, we when we used to make movies in high school and stuff, we would just use illegally, we'd use whatever Duran Duran or Best Mode or something. We would just, you know, but man, different time today. What I heard is TikTok lets you use any pop music you want for personal purposes. So if you're just like filming your day or just like a vlog or a picture of your cat or something, video of your cat, apparently you can use just about any commercial music. But I am not on TikTok. I'm talking out of my ass here. I should learn more about this. You got to keep doing things. I haven't actually gone on to TikTok and spent significant time with it. I just keep reading. I see threads and I see, hey, here's what you need to know. We did some research on TikTok and yada yada. And I'm like, I'm just keeping it in my peripheral, but like I haven't gone yet, really.
mm-hmm.
I don't wanna. I don't know.
I've tried to use it like once, and what I've heard about it is that it's supposedly it learns from your like stuff you engage with or something, whatever the term is. If you engage with a video, whether it's in whatever
The
way,
algorithm
that adds the algorithm.
gets you.
But yeah, what I
Yeah.
didn't like is that there's not like a bespoke like like not like button. I can't just go in there and go, I hate this. I don't ever show me this ever again. Or, I mean, I think you can follow somebody. I think you can be like, I like this person, show me more of that, and it will. But I don't think there's a way to just go like, get this out of here. Don't show me this category of stuff. So you have to trust that the algorithm is doing something and sit there and futz with it and just hope that it eventually gets better over time. I don't know. But I found it too irritating in the short term to use, and so I just bailed. I figure all the good stuff shows up on the aggregate sites like Reddit and Twitter anyway. So
I see a lot of TikTok content on Twitter. Yeah. You know how I like to talk about Brace Yourself games, and especially Ryan Clark's awesome Clark Tank series.
mm-hmm.
What a valuable resource for indies. And
Yeah.
anyway, he's on TikTok. He's made a few TikTok videos, and they're great, man. Like it's a good fit for it, right? Because it's like they're 2 minutes each about, and it's just Ryan just talk to the camera about how to have a game that's interesting and why people might want to buy it and stuff like that. And I'm curious to try TikTok because I'm a creative person and I've been getting more into video and stuff recently. And I'm really curious how TikTok's creation tools work, because you see these common patterns where like a common one is you blur out the background and you put behind it a screenshot of what you're talking about, and that's kind of perfect for the sort of educational content I've been doing recently. I think I'm just not really like ready for TikTok. I'm very new to making significant video content. I am more of a game developer, and so I
Mm-hmm.
think I need to get comfortable with the format with which I think of as video, which is like a 16:9, some kind of widescreen situation, closer to a movie. I need to get comfortable there. Once I've kind of figured out how I like to make that and what I like to do with that, then I think I could handle like, okay, we're gonna scrunch that, like the portrait. This portrait really, just as a dinosaur person, as a human being born before the internet and cell phones and stuff, portrait is a challenge for me when I'm thinking digitally. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I mean, it is a, I think as we talk, we're frequently going to talk about how we're, you know, older.
Dying.
Yeah. It's gonna be a running theme. But it is an age thing. It's like we grew up with, there being a delay between I take a picture or I shoot a film or even shooting video versus like you can record it and play it back. It was actually kind of a revelation when we had VHS camcorders that you could actually like, when you could rewind them and watch it back through the viewfinder and stuff, so that you could kind of like edit on the fly. You know what I mean? Where you'd have to like, or actually you couldn't. God, when I was making movies with Jason, I don't even know. Could you do that? I don't even know if we could. We had one of those giant like big ass things that I don't even know if we could rewind it on the fly, or if we kind of learned over time of like, okay, this is the, okay, we stopped and now we need to go zzz, and like, you get a feel for it and you're like, zzz, okay, that's good. Now when we record again, it'll stomp the last like second half of what we just did. And I mean, I don't know, when you and your friends are making them, were you able to kind of review and rewind to see where you stopped? Or
I have a lot to say about that. So you're talking about editing on the fly on the camcorder, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that was magic. That was like, you were supposed to go into post, you're supposed to go and edit and stuff, but we didn't have those facilities. All we had was the ability to rewind, right? So we would crank out videos. I think about this a lot. It was almost like inevitable that we would finish the movie because it was just shot. If we messed up the shot, we would go back, and it was such a pain to go back that we would only do it if we had to, right?
Yeah.
And that makes me think about things like in the context of Photoshop, I will sit there and I will grind a line out. I'll go line undo, line undo, line undo, line undo, line undo, right? I also do a lot of ink work though, and when I'm doing that, you can't at all. You can pencil all day, but when you put down that stroke in ink, you're done, right? And so because of that, I was able to like crank out a decent chunk of ink work, right? And back in the day, this was like high school, early college. My friends and I were able to make a bunch of movies, 10-minute, 15-minute movies that were, terrible, but like weird and entertaining. And the most important thing was our friends loved them. We would just make them to show them in class and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then, once in a while it would be like a magical thing would happen, and like the whole floor of the high school would be laughing because they were all watching one of our stupid, like, we'd make videos for science class and stuff. We made a mole day video, right? And they were so dumb and loud, and like so here's what happened is Mike, our middle brother, who will someday appear on Super Hackett Bros,
Hopefully.
So he went to college, nearby college, and he got access to editing equipment, right? As so did I. I started to get access to the audio video class. There was like a room where they had like a little ancient, you could spin the dial to rewind the tape and whatnot. But Mike had access to like college level editing, like Avid, I think it was, but he had real editing capabilities. And so what he would tell us was like what he was learning in class and what we should do. And he was like, okay, just shoot a bunch of the take and then we'll edit it together later and it'll be great. It's like, okay, right? And I would also like read magazines where like directors were talking about stuff. Like you'd hear about how like, oh, David Fincher will take 25 takes of the same shot just to get it just right. And like, as a dumb kid that didn't understand that, I didn't get the disparity for one between like someone who's trying to make an Oscar and someone who's trying to make their friends laugh. And so I would start to do that because I was like in the director role most of the time, and I would be like, all right, we're gonna do 10 takes. So stupid. Like we would run out of tape. We would have all this garbage to sort through. It was no longer fun at the end of a film session just to watch it and be like, oh, look at that. We made like, 2.5 minutes of scenes, like finished content, right? Versus like, let's watch this. So 7 takes of Kevin walking up and going, which way did he go? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Like, you do not need it. We could have moved on, cut, move on. Yeah. Okay. I have a lot to say about that, I guess. You mentioned camcorder editing, and I'm like, get ready for a 10-minute rant.
Did you ever use film, or did you ever get to the point that Mike was at where he was able to put the video into editing software or anything like that? Like, back in early mid 90s, which is the time frame we're talking about for everybody watching. Yes. Ancient times.
That was a time. The 1990s, I picture like wagons.
Yeah.
Did you have running water? Yes. What was the actual question there? Did I have access to the editing equipment? Not really. So what we would do is we used to just, I think it was High 8, we would film the movies and just have it on there. And there would be several because it was a 2-hour tape, and we would make like, 3 or 4 10-minute movies between a bunch of just random crap, just filming shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would give those to Mike, and there they sat. Right. Because of course, I mean, he was going to school, and he also was not a big project kind of person, especially when it's just this chaos coming from a group of kids. Hey, here's 6 hours of puppets. Like, figure that out.
Oh, right. Because you guys were still continuing to make video content while he was in school and had access to that stuff.
Yes.
Right. And he also took some of my Super 8 stuff and put it on digital and was like playing it over the the closed circuit station on campus, right?
Yes. Yeah, I love that. How you didn't even know, but like the stuff you had made like 5 years ago or something was like being broadcast to a few hundred people, right? Like,
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Watching you run around in a trench coat killing werewolves.
Well, watching my friend Jason run around in a trench coat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it's interesting because so you never play with film though, right? Like
no.
Actual Super 8, because this is going to our own personal like brother conversation that we had just a few days ago, and Mike was talking about how playing with film was cool, and yeah, it was the first time, like, we're talking literally Super 8 film, which you can't even, even at the time, I think it was already on its way out. But it didn't have, you couldn't record audio. It was like literally just pictures, and it was like you'd hold up the strip, you hold it up to the light and stuff, and you had to take it and look at it under the little thing, and you're pulling it under you're pulling it. I don't remember the name of the little devices, but you're literally cutting it and then stitching the film back together and stuff. And it was really cool because you knew, nowadays you've got Premiere or Final Cut Pro or whatever, and you can literally go frame by frame, but like that was the only way back then, and unless you had access to all that stuff Mike had access to through college, that was the only way to see the individual frames, was to be looking at actual physical film. And so that was a cool revelation, to be going from these shitty camcorders and like going by feel of how much I can stop and stuff, to like, oh no, I know exactly where the cut is because I literally cut it.
Yeah. Is this working? I tried to switch using my OBS Magic to a browser.
You did. I'm seeing what am I seeing?
This is what you're talking about. This is not the actual thing you're talking about. You're talking about Phil Steele, Werewolf Hunter of the Future, but this is
was that Jim
the
that I
same
saw? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was Joey. This is the same medium. You were working on literal film, like tape, right? And I always thought it was so cool. What you were able to do is to scratch with a needle directly onto the film to create like an explosion or electricity effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
like
don't know how well
literally
this
by
animation
hand.
is going to work here, but there's also like a lot of cool graininess and mood and effect. Like you and I were just talking about how the game I'm working on kind of needs a layer of this, like a layer of grime and dirt. Like look at that great, like you pay good money to get like a filter, like
Sorry,
a
is this
LUT.
film or is this video that you're showing
This
us
is
here?
literal film. So it this is film being projected and a video shot of that.
Right. Okay.
So it's yeah, and I'm just playing on YouTube. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. It disgusts me. It's the Bo Burnham inside whole.
Damn,
It's
this
that whole
looks
thing.
hype. It sure does. Looks
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yes, the freshest videos only.
Yeah.
This is quite a tangent. That would be a perfect segue into my game with where we're talking about the grit and the dirt.
Yeah.
But that would be completely abandoning anything else that you wanted to say about film.
No. I mean, and also this is supposed to be a game dev stream, so yeah. I do think, I don't know, is it worth discussing the thing that literally, I think it was just last night that came up, where we were talking about the again, our brother Mike was showing us the thing about Fincher and his approach to making that movie. What is it, Mank? About how he wanted everything to, like, I don't know how, like, I was very vocal in our Discord about how I feel about that, but how do you feel? Because like I was very much like, I love David Fincher, like Seven and Fight Club and Panic Room. The Game is like nobody even remembers that movie. That movie is freaking
underrated.
awesome.
Yeah.
Totally underrated. And I love his eye. He's got a great he's got a vibe that just is in all of his movies. It's really cool. But yeah, when he hit a certain point where he started just digitally doing everything digitally to the point where like you'd see some of the stuff that he would do in his movies and you're like, why? Like, just take your cameras and like go find that. You're like you digitally created like a field and a tree or something, and it's like what? Like, I don't get it. So like that him sitting there meticulously creating a movie where the whole point was to recreate the look of camera lenses and stuff, and then I compare that to compare and contrast that to the Batman, and I'm not really a fan of what is his name, Fraser, the cinematographer who worked on the Batman, Matt Reeves and Greg Fraser. I think
I love
is
that
the
you
cinematographer.
think so much more about the cinematographer than I do. You always do, and I absolutely adore that.
He's so the reason that I know Fraser is because he's worked on a bunch of movies that I felt were like just too damn dark. I can't see what the hell's happening, right? And like I was kind of bummed that he worked on Dune as opposed to what's his face? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. The guy who did Blade Runner 2049 and all those other God, what? Somebody help me out here. The damn. Anyway, I'm not a fan of Fraser necessarily because he goes super dark. I think he also did the cinematography for like Rogue One, and he has a look where in certain kinds of movies you sit there and you go like, is enough light getting into the projector or something? When you see the movies in the theater, you sit there going like, I can't see anything, and so he strikes me as one of those kind of directors. But I loved what he did with the Batman. The Batman was very grim, dark, and very kind of it's overly angsty, and and it was way too damn long. But I loved that him and the director Reeves took all that care to come up with these lenses, and they actually got the lenses, and they did all this research to get the old lenses, and they dealt with the physicality of like real things and stuff, and they got this really cool, unique look in that movie that really, really helps to set the tone. And then you compare and contrast that with David Fincher, who just went out and basically shot everything on digital and was like, I'll figure it out later. and I'm kind of like, like I don't want to, again, I don't want to sound like a dinosaur, but it kind of bums me out because, like sometimes it's like there's a cool craft there, and like, embrace that craft, and like, and milk it and really like sink your teeth into it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get that.
Sorry,
Roger
that was a long
Deakins.
rant. I don't know if, I don't know how you feel about that. Am I being overly cranky about that take?
It is strange because Fincher can use whatever camera he wants and whatever medium he wants because he can afford to do that, right? And he does do a surprising amount of computer graphics, right? Like one thing that really surprised me is he uses CG for blood because he wants to get the perfect, say, like a gunshot, or like there's a Daniel Craig shower scene in one of the Dragon movies where the blood was added in post, and it's surprising, and you're also like, really, why? Like usually the CG is reserved for things that are hard to film or dangerous or expensive to film practically, right? But it's because he wants the motion and the shot and the lighting, and he wants to get everything right there, and he doesn't want to like have to reset and be like, clean up all the blood and let's shoot it again. He wants to get his 20-30 shots or whatever, right? And if he doesn't have any we've talked about that a little bit, the reset phase, right? Back to default.
Yeah.
That's a really important thing sometimes. So I will say I enjoyed Mank much less than most of his stuff. I love Gary Oldman. It bothered me that I didn't like it because I was mostly just bored.
Yeah.
That sucks. It's missing a little something to me, and needed a little.
Gary Oldman's great. I usually love him in everything. Did you see the Darkest Hour?
Yeah.
Love that. I mean,
if you had me at Gary Oldman and then you mentioned Oscar, and I'm like, well, I have to watch that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna not watch that. I'm
Yeah.
a big Oldman fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Deakins, Roger Deakins. I'm embarrassed that I couldn't remember his name because I talk about him a lot because his work is so fantastic.
I knew it was bothering you, and I don't have it at the tip of my tongue. Yeah.
He's really
What's
good.
up, Joe? Yeah.
Also, really love Denis. He's great. All of his movies are fantastic. Even his older stuff, he's really good.
I know you guys don't know this because you don't talk to my brother the way I do, but you like John. You're such a it's Denis. Is it Denis, right?
Denis.
You're such a fan. You just like,
I am.
Oh, you like melt. You're like, oh, a new news about the Dune. There will be a sequel. Everyone rejoice.
Yeah, well, we both have an interest in movies and stuff, and I actually, my first year in college, I was in cinematography and stuff. So like, yeah, who is it? Somebody said in chat that like, cinematography, visuals, animations, like, it's all one big ball of wax, and it's a lot of visual stuff does come together. In video games. Video games is an interesting kind of like sort of nexus where like all stuff kind of leads to it. Hey, thanks. You like that?
I do. We're always drifting off into film and movies for some reason.
Yeah, we got to try to like come on back onto the. The only other thing that I wanted to comment on was the Marvel films. I've seen some there's videos on YouTube about the MCU look. And the entire first like 3 phases, I guess, of the MCU had a they had a look. They had basically like kind of a LUT that they applied to everything and that went across all their movies, no matter what. And it made all of the, when you go back and watch some of the older movies, they are a little kind of bland and flat, and like they've had some of the life pulled out of them a little bit. And I'm glad that they have let that go with the Disney Plus stuff, and they've been letting more directors step up and bring their own style to things. Like Loki had a really cool look to it. Even the last Miss Marvel show had a fun, at least the first couple episodes, they kind of dropped it out strangely after that, but it had a fun, almost like Spider-Verse kind of look to it, where it's like super colorful and actually a lot of really great lighting and colors and stuff. And they were doing fun stuff with like post, like art and things on top of the frame. So they're finally breaking out of that horrible look, but yeah, the original movies are they've got a muddy kind of blech look to them, and
I want to see. Yeah, I like seeing color. I get that that muddy look has more of a realistic tone to it, and sometimes that's you just need that extra kind of 10% to get you like, ah, okay, it looks realistic now. And this for some reason saturation can kind of hurt that. But yeah, there was definitely this the graying period of it feels like movies and AAA that were just
mm,
games that were just starting to get out of, which I'm happy about.
oh yeah. Do you remember the I guess it was when I guess it was when like in the Xbox 360 days there was like the next gen look, and I think I'm talking like from like 2005 to like maybe 2012 or something. There was a look in there that was like the Need for Speed games all came out and they all had this look to them. It was very kind of like it was desaturated and it was gritty and grainy, and you'd have this super strong LUT on top of everything, so that like a games would come out and it'd be like, hey, it's all kind of like it's the levels have been cranked and it's got a green, everything's got a green tint to it, and it was like this look that was really popular for like a whole console generation. It was like, oh man, enough of this, please. Like let's bring some color and some interest back into video games. Come on, man.
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm a person who really tries to follow best conventions, best practices and conventions, right? And like, you know, if there's general advice out there about like indie game marketing or something, I'm the person who's likely to pick up on it. So I totally get when like I love these screenshots where you'll see like, look at this, the top, 20 apps on the App Store all have an icon where someone's got like a big eyes and an open mouth, and it looks like they're yelling. Like, you know what I'm talking about? You've probably seen that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like someone scrolling, be like, this is ridiculous. And like I had seen that article. I think it was on. I'm so glad it's not called Gama Sutra anymore. I think it's just game. I think you just call it game developer.
GameDeveloper.com, right?
I'll say gamedeveloper.com though. Yeah. Okay, it's game. Yeah, it's probably on gamedeveloper.com. Although, it wasn't. Anyway, I remember seeing that article where it was like, before everything was that way, it was like, hey, check out the success of like Clash of the Clans. Wow, it's really taken off, and something about that face really draws you, doesn't it? And everyone's like, the whole industry's like, yes, it does. copy, right? And like, I get it because I'm also a person who takes advice, right? Like it's common to like you read something and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll try that, but that's exactly how you end up back of the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time you've heard that, someone else has already had that success. 10 people read that article before you and were able to move faster, and like you're chasing the puck, right?
Yep. Yeah. You're always going to be behind the wave. You're going to be laying on your belly on the surfboard, frantically paddling away, trying to catch up with the wave. Like doesn't work. Yeah. But it's almost like by the time you see a trend, it's too late. The trend is you will, but you factor in development time and getting to market and stuff, and it's like, trend will already be gone. Ignore that trend. You watch that trend go by. Like you need to change your focus and not look at what's selling. You need to look at like, okay, I'm looking at the next couple waves and trying to pick. That's what Clark Tank was so great for. Like the fact that he found like a system for going in there and digging into. Just taking data that was there and that everybody could see, but he was really, really good at decrypting that stuff. It was almost like he could sit there and the whole thing with where he could see the matrix, and he's like, you just see code, but I see like blonde, brunette, and he was doing that. It's like that's what Clark Tank was like. He could look at all those numbers and be like, that's gonna be a hit, that's not gonna work. It was like he was seeing something the rest of us weren't seeing.
Yeah. Long live Clark Tank. Maybe he'll bring it back someday. But actually, there's a bunch I haven't seen to go back to. So do you want? What should we do with games? Game dev, gamey games. We could talk about various topics. We have a document with a bunch of lists, like a list of things to discuss. We could also play early build of a game I'm working on, or I could develop some on it, or both, right? We have another hour and a half, so there probably is time for both. I thought it would be fun to develop something in the game. It doesn't have to be tonight, but put something in the game that you could come up with, or an idea that we're brainstorming that sounds weird and fun. I really want to stream game development that's not boring, because like I'm coming off of 2 days of some pretty boring work, like some AI stuff. Like I have this critter system where I want rabbits in my world that go to sleep at night, wake up during the day, walk around, and if you scare them, they'll run off. And that's it, right? But I've spent 2 days just like, it's a bug, right? It's not that exciting to look at, but I want to work on some game dev stuff where it's like, boom, there's a new wand, it shoots a huge fireball. What else do you want? Stuff like that. But anyway, what are you thinking? What are you up for? What sounds good?
I'm up for any of it, all of it. Yeah, I mean, we can keep talking, but I mean, we could also switch over to, if you want to share your screen and show us what you've got. You also sent me a build, and I can fire it up. You know, that being said, you know, like, then it's in my control to not make your game look. If you're driving, maybe you could show us like what you think is the most interesting. I can show you only the
good parts.
Versus like versus if I take your game and go run into a corner, and you know, if I start looking for collision bugs or something.
All right,
I won't do that. I'm kidding. I'm not going to play like a jerk.
No, I know, but why don't I just stream some game dev here?
Sure. Give me a second here. Let's go into. Let me take a look at my scenes here. Sorry, we're still a little rough here with the streaming, so I'm looking for a scene that has how did we do this last time? Oh god, you know what, we did this last time with you sharing with your iPad, right? How do you want to share your screen? Because you need to share your screen. This is just my
desktop screen.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can
share?
I can go into Zoom and screen share. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, I think that's the way I think that's what my scene is set up for.
Let's give it a shot.
We will give it a shot.
Close this YouTube tab.
See what happens.
So in the screen, I have the 4 game dev windows that I need, if you don't count Google. We all need Google. So I will share that screen.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention some things from the chat. I totally agree with finding inspiration for different places. That's a big one for me. My big one is food. I'm always like, I cook almost every day, and almost every day I'm like, this is relevant to game dev, like some kind of inspiration there. And hell yeah, I'm gonna add 10,000 bunnies. Let's do it. I can add dust bunnies right now using the system I currently have, just by making time pass really rapidly. What am I doing?
You mean like little
share screen,
like tumbleweeds, basically? Like, is it like just, you mean just sort of ambient little things that kind of roll around through the screen?
Yeah. Instead of pardon me, instead of tumbleweeds, I did dust bunnies, because they kind of fit my.
Okay, let me look for my.
Fit my game better. How's this looking, everybody? Are we seeing Unity?
No, we're not seeing it yet, because I have to get the window from Zoom.
I'm in the middle of fixing a bug. I should turn this off.
Wait, sorry. So did you screen share?
I should be now.
Come on, Zoom. Where is it?
Bear with us here, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll show you dust bunnies and rabbits once John figures it out.
Hang on, I'm gonna mess with some stuff here that might. Okay, where the hell? Come on, Zoom. This is really annoying. This is gonna mess with your window size. But I'm looking. Oh, see, there it is. It takes it. Zoom just. Anytime you change anything about Zoom, it throws it out of whack.
We all hate Zoom, John. But Zoom is how we work now.
See, we use Google Hangout, or not Google Hangouts, Google Meet. Can you hear
Oh,
that
really?
screeching noise, by the way? This is a total aside, total real life
No.
aside. Can you hear that?
I hear no screeching.
We have this thing that we have some kind of owl that lives in this area who gets really near our windows and just makes this screeching slash beeping sound, like super loud, like every 15 seconds, just screech. And
What?
yeah, it's weird. Apparently, my family has decided that his name is Dennis, and he just comes
Okay.
around all the time. Okay, why is that not working? Sorry. Stick with us, please. I apologize. Clip Studio versus Zoom. Why is this not working? Last time we did this was Clip Studio. No. See, that's not right. Sorry, this is super exciting.
There should be a chat option for I want gigantic text.
A chat option?
Yeah. I now have the chat on my phone. I'm well prepared. I need to have a good setup for this because I hope to be doing lots of this. My game's going to take a long time to make, and I would like to stream a bunch of the funner things.
Okay, what is
Nice.
this window called?
Love a chill chat. It's the
no, that's me. Ugh. Sorry.
It's the waste. It's the wastewater we talk about. No, you're all good. What
Okay,
can
there.
I
I finally got your Zoom window. Now I just need to go and update this other thing here. And yeah, see, sorry, I forgot that the last time that we did this, where you and I each had focus screens, we were sharing me using Photoshop and you using Clip Studio Paint. But I think what you were doing was you were sharing it via you were using Zoom's like direct link feature, right?
Yeah.
So it was throwing it into a window that my OBS now has associated with something else, and so it's like it's not picking up on it. So I should just be able to add this now. Whoa, it's huge.
Oh, I could be cleaning up my mess. What was I doing?
All right, I'm almost there. I promise.
That's cool. I'll clean up real quick.
Okay, I'm ready to go whenever you want me to show it. I can show it. Do you want me to shave off your little menu thing at the top? Or are you okay with me literally showing your entire screen?
Shave off my menu. I don't care.
Okay. All right. Zerp.
You did like the Jedi. The magic. I stream you now. I declared you streamed.
You are now live. We can now all see your Unity. So.
All right.
Ooh, chocolate ice cream.
Ooh,
nice.
That's a good call. That's hard to argue with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could beat that anyway. Enjoy. All right, I think we see it and we're streaming. Let me know, anybody, if it is illegible or looks bad. I need to hide my shame real quick because I was mid doing a thing. I might just keep that. I'm just gonna keep it. I don't care.
Is that big enough, or should I make this bigger? I don't know. Could chat see this, or should I?
I feel like there's an awful lot of negative space. Real-time editing here.
All right, smartass.
That's kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning of the call. Real-time editing. Okay, where's my editor? Here we go. What was I doing?
Chat, give me a holler if you can't make out what Matt's doing, and I can futz around with it. Otherwise,
yeah.
If it's coming across okay, then I'll stop messing with it.
Wanderer roll. I really can't. I so rarely do this. I can't believe I did this.
Okay.
But I'm mid change, and this is not even like a good change. This is just me futzing around trying to fix a bug. Okay, so I have changed my software stack recently. I used to use a diff program called Kaleidoscope, and now I use one called GitHub Desktop, which is not, it's not really all it does. And yeah, I'll just add all that. I still do everything from the command line with Git though, because that's just who I am. Dibs actor whip. Okay, so anyway, this is, I got that done. Unity's gonna go, you changed something. This is great because I've been meaning to do this. I just I have too much going on right now to actually stream during the day. But I have been cranking on this game. Working title is Cauldron. And I'll show you around. So why don't I just delete my content here? All right, so actually, and I'll also what's a better thing? Should I walk through the game or should I just show you the playground? I guess the playground, because we're doing development here.
Well,
so,
I mean, do people do you at least need to give us like what is this game? Like, what are you showing us? Do you want to give us like some kind of, what's your X? What is this game you're showing us?
Yeah. So it's called Project Cauldron, and you are a witch living near a quiet village. You can choose to live peacefully with nature, or you can choose to attack the village, steal their babies, and sacrifice them for dark magic. You can be a good witch or an evil witch. Evil.
How good can you be though? Like you say, you can be good or evil, but like, what is good? What do the two ends of the spectrum look like with this game? How have you built in capacity to actually be good, or just like be less horrible?
I think currently, with what's currently in the game, not killing people is good. It's kind of the best you can be.
Gotcha.
I think you can give people apples. That's good.
Yeah, that's
you
a good
can
thing.
feed the not that hungry, because they don't really have hunger, but they will eat apples. This is an interesting mechanic that I added to people actually. So let me go find some people. I'll give you a tour in a second of my play space here. I'll just do this. So I'll head over to the village real quick, and oh, he's still got still debugging. Whoops. I'll show you people because there's a cool mechanic. So I think if I touch this person, he will take my torch. He totally did. He took my torch. So that's a mechanic I added to people that came from I was trying to think of an easy way to add an inherent human trait, which is to take and to be
greedy,
selfish.
Yeah.
Yes. So specifically what I needed was a casual, simple, almost misunderstanding style way for people to upset you, the witch, the player, right? And the way this game is set up is there will definitely be times when people will steal things from you that will really upset you. And so even if you decide to play as the good witch, like people will rob from you, and your good witchness will be tested. And I really like that small change because it came from it was a simple mechanic change that came from a feeling desire. You know what I mean? And I love those changes in games because a lot of the times it's more mechanical than that, or it's more numeric than that, where it's like, I need a shotgun, it blasts a bunch of shells, or I need a machine gun and it fires, 12 bullets. And I like it a lot more. I just love those rare occasional ones where it's like, I need the game to, I need it to feel wet. I need a mechanic that feels wet, or I need I want something like a mechanic that feels punchy. Like when you're going for a specific kind of feeling. And what I was going for was like, I want the villagers to feel a little more human. Like they're not going to be very advanced replicas of people. You know what I mean? They're supposed to remind you of people, but they're going to be pretty stupid. You know what I mean? They're going to be wandering around and walking into walls and bumping into each other. Like I'm not going to put a ton of, like they're sleeping in the same bed, and like that's not intentional. It's just a bug, but it's totally fine. But I wanted to get more humanity in them and make them a believable foil for like a person who's sometimes good and sometimes a pain in your ass. Anyway, so let me give you a tour. What's with my setting? Oh, wow. Let me give you a tour of my playground. And so this is something I write about. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. This is something I write about in my book. Which is so funny because everybody in here has it. Some of you have even got my big dumb other product. Like, come on, why do I even talk? Anyway, it's just practice for me, you guys. It's just practice.
Keep being a shill. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. But I talk about having a playground, and I've always had them in like most of the games I've worked on in the last few years, but this one is really expanded. This playground, check this out. I want to zoom way out here, and I'm going to grab this wand, and I'm going to make it daylight. And so now you can really see the size of this playground, and everything that you see is unique, and everything you see represents a part of the game. I don't think there's anything duplicated in here. I think every single element is one of a kind. Although there are some right here, there's some resources that let me craft, because there's a crafting mechanic in the game. Oh, and there's multiple babies because they are used in powerful magic. But over here, like there's one of each of my debugging items. Like here, I'll show you. My debugging items are sweet. This is one of the coolest things about my my playground. Is so like here I've got a fire wand where I can pick up a magic and I can shoot a fireball. That's pretty cool, right? Here, oh, this is my FX wand. You can kind of see it's called FX wand. Can you see that? Is that possible to see? Can you guys see that? So if I pick up my FX wand, what my FX wand does is it plays through all my effects, and it tells you what it is. So here's an FX burst. Here's a dazzle, which I can't even see. Let me zoom in a little more. If this isn't interesting, just let me know. Oh yeah, there's the shock. What's this one? Shock. Oh, splash. There's a swirl. Anyway, it lets me, it gives me an isolated place to play with just my effects to see if they're working properly, right? Which is pretty nice. This one's really cool. It makes a number wang appear. Anytime you have a number that appears on the screen, I call that a number wang. And here you can see it's got an icon attached to it as well. And some of them are broken. But my game has the ability to add like a fire or whatever kind of icon you want. And so down the road, I can probably have things like you can deal damage. That's a number wing wand.
Hey, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Because there's a chat question that is actually a question I was wanting to ask as well, which is the zooming in and out. I haven't seen that before when you've shown me this stuff in the game. Is that something that you're going to keep in, or is that just a debug thing?
Oh yeah, I'm keeping it. It's beautiful, baby. This is staying in the game. It's way too good not to stay in the game. Look at this. It's awesome. And you can zoom way in. Way in. My sprites are so high ref, like they don't get or high def, they don't look bad even at that zoomed in level.
And Vincent, we have specifically, Matt and I have talked specifically before, like, I mean, just like within the last week about like, yeah, the marketing potential of if you can piss off some religious people with the baby sacrifice and get some press that way,
Oh wow.
No, there's no such thing as bad press. And hey, man.
Yeah, man.
If you can anger some some religious folks and get them all riled up about that, about witches.
Hey, there's that the Super Meat Boy story where Team Meat themselves got accounts and went and bothered a bunch of people on like a PETA forum and riled them up to where they funded a game called Super Tofu Man. I need to Google this and make sure that wasn't just a dream or something. But that was one of the things that helped propel, Meat Boy to like a household name, right? Yes, the game will very much be trying to like trick you into murdering people.
Well, it's not tricking. I mean, you're rewarding players for that, right? Like there's no trickery. There's actual like you want some of the darkest magics. You need to go and get yourself a baby.
I think so. I think one thing it's going to be is like a shortcut. I think that I love it when you can kind of take whatever path you want through the game to get to the same place. And so I think it would be more interesting if you can legitimately go and just be like a farmer, a harvester. You can just grow really magic mushrooms and something, like go do non-evil things. And I think it could also be a legitimate path to be like, I am a bog witch. I drown children in the lake and eat them and use their blood in dark magic. And like, whoa, like I want that. I want this game to be that. But I don't know totally what that's going to look like yet. I definitely think that being evil is the hard way. Like the villagers can kill you and they will and stuff like that, right? So like you only want to mess with them like, kind of like stealth mode, right? And so I think that being violent and evil is hard, and being good and kind of a passive witch will be like the slow and easy route. So, you know, cozy and casual if you want it, but also like a gross, you know, action-packed roguelike if you want it. So I'm just trying to build the stars of the moon here. That's all, guys. Just a game that does everything. There's crafting in here as well. Jeez, yeah. Look at the scope of this. So let me finish this tour. This is a cool one. So there is a day and night cycle in the game, and this wand here is a little shortcut that kind of lets me change the time of day. So it's 8 p.m. now, and then it's 8 a.m. now, and that's a hard reset. There's also this, which is the hourglass, which lets me fast forward time. And so you should see day and night, nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime. But I can slow that way down. The default is 60, which I can't hit anymore. Anyway, so you can change the passage of time. And it doesn't look like much when it's just the day and night changing. But check this out. If I walk over here, it's actually, no, I'm wrong. Well, this flower here will be blooming, representing what time of day it is. So you'll see it animating a lot more than normal. What I don't understand is why these weeds aren't expanding. They're supposed to be.
What's happening right now? You're cycling day and night very quickly?
So yeah, the time mod, what it says there is 86,000. So time travels 86,000 times faster than it normally would right now.
Right, days are just whizzing by.
They're just whizzing by. And you can, so I can see right up here, day 31, day 32, if you can see my mouse cursor. So that's a cool thing that lets me play with time. It let me, you know, test out the system. Here's a cool one. This is called the state wand. And when I use this, it gives me every state or every status, I call them, the game has right now. And so there's death and poison, and you can choose to have timers on them or not. And so you can basically poison someone, and then like I can set it up right now to where when poison expires, you die. I've just turned that off because it's pretty brutal. But that's a really useful tool, and you can set it up to where like based on the facing of the wand, if I face the wand down, it adds just the stun status and lets me test that. And I can't move when I'm stunned. But if I face it up, it adds every status. So I can see them all, see that the list is working, and see that they disappear over time as expected. So that's a really useful test, debugging tool. This here lets you grow plants. This is an end-game item, which I need magic to use. So I'm going to go pick up my big chunk of magic here. Ching! Which shows, I got my number weighing, showed me I got 100 magic, which you can see down here in the UI. And then here I will go, whoops, so I put the wand down instead of using it. Here I'm going to use it, and I got a little weed. I'll use it again, and I get a bush. And if I use it 3 times, I get a tree. Pretty cool, right? I think it's cool. This is a, pardon me, this is a really good one. This is the, what do I call this? I forget what I call it, but hex wand, I think, but bam. This gives me a list of tools and things that I might want to have. So I got my magnifier where I can zoom in and out. I got my key that unlocks the end game door. I got my, what the hell's that? Oh, I got my earth wand that lets me break the planet. I love this. Here, watch, I'll break the game. Oh yeah, broken.
Nice.
It's so broken. Because this basically, like, my universe is not prepared for the power of this wand. So I don't give players, well, actually I do give players access to it. I shouldn't. And And then what does this thing do? Oh, this is my debug wand. It lets me skip forward 8 hours at a time. Oh, Joe, if you're still in here, these are my dust bunnies. So as I'm skipping forward 8 hours, the dust bunnies, what they do is, here, I'll show you. In the debug zone here, oh, I won't show you. I'll show you when I cancel this out. But I have these generators that listen for the time. Well, they watch time passing, and they will generate dust bunnies, which get in your face and are really annoying. And you can only destroy them with a broom. And so dust bunnies appear over time, and you've got to come in here and you got to dust them. And what's really cool is if you get tired of dusting, what a pain, right? What you can do is drop a broom here and just sacrifice a baby. And now I got a broom that will dust for me.
That's a cool trope. The sort of like the sentient broom or semi-sentient broom going around sweeping up for you. That's a good trope.
It was inspired by, like a little bit of Harry Potter perhaps, but also Fantasia, the marching brooms and whatnot. Let's see. Oh,
thanks for the raid, by the way. Lewis?
Oh, very cool.
Lewis or Louis?
Welcome.
I never know.
I'm glad you like the status icons. They're a different style than the rest of the game. They get those white borders. Let's see if I can pull those up. Where are they? Statuses. There's Phil. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, they're meant to be simplistic.
So these are the icons that you're going to be using, like we talked about with having the NPCs express themselves, right? Express their wants. Oh, your mic just cut out.
I did that. I muted myself because I had to call for something.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you one way I use the status icons.
Do you want to elevator pitch this real quick for the new people who came in who
don't know
what we're looking at?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, welcome. This is a game I'm working on. I'm calling it Cauldron, but it's a working title. The premise is you are a witch in the woods, and do you want to live peacefully with nature, or do you want to perform dark magic by attacking the villagers and stealing their children? Like it's supposed to give you that full spread of, do you want to be a good witch with a basket of mushrooms and a cute, cat familiar, or do you want to be an evil like blood witch that came out of the swamp? Like, because you literally come out of the swamp in this game. So yeah, I've been working on it for quite some time, which I hope is evident. And I'm just kind of giving everybody. This is the first time I think I've really talked about this. But I am going to be starting live streaming during the week and stuff through Galadria.
And hopefully I'm not giving away too much here, Matt, but this is something that you've picked back up recently, right? Like you had another you've been working on, obviously you've been spending a lot of time recently working on Make the Game and all of its associated.
Oh, it's my podcast.
Where's the book? Okay.
Oh, hey, there it is.
You've been working on your podcast.
It's book time.
You wrote a
my
book,
everybody.
You've been working on a podcast. You've been working on some other supplemental materials.
A lovely paperback book you can hold in your hands.
It's a real page turner.
That's right. That's right.
So you've been doing that. You've also had another project for a while that was sort of occupying your attention. But then what was it that made you? Because you kind of got to a stopping point, or was it that you got to a stopping point with the other project? And I don't want to reveal what that is for you or anything, but like I think we could just speak around it and just say, like, did you get to a point where you were like, okay, this needs to be, in order for me to finish this, I have X amount of work in front of me, or I need to, in order to make this what I want, I have to increase the scope by Y, and therefore it's going to eat up some time. But then you knew that this project here that you're showing as Cauldron was also sort of sitting there in like a state. How did you make the decision to kind of put one down and sort of return to this?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. Yeah, you're right. I am a person who gets off on goes on tangents. I have a problem where, like, I'll have a big project I'm working on, but then this, you know how it is. This other little project is like, hey, what about me? I'm a cool new project. You could ship me so much faster. I bet you could finish me in a month. And I'm like, a month? That's not bad, really. And I start working on it, and then 2 months pass by, and I'm like, I did it again. But it's okay. I've realized it's kind of part of my process. When I'm working on a big game, like Cauldron is going to be one of my biggest games, right? And when I'm working on a big game like this, I've realized that I need to step away once in a while, and I don't even get to control when that is. The game will tell me. It'll be like, no, goodbye, Matt. And I'm like, but I want to keep working on you, and I just have to drift away. And that definitely happened. Like when I needed to finish my book, like I was working on the book on the weekends, and I had time to do other stuff. But when I needed to finish this thing and get it out the door, all game development stopped for a period of time, right? And that was rough. And then when I got back into it, the first big task on my plate with Cauldron was a big old refactor that I knew I needed to do, and I was like, oh, that's gonna suck. I kept putting it off, and so I kind of got back into game development from a side alley, which was a side project for me. It was a totally different project. I wrote it in Scratch from an HTML5 and pure JavaScript. It's low resolution. I did pixel art. It's not like this at all, right? And so it kind of scratched a different itch for me. But you're totally right. I got to the point where I realized it was going to be a lot more work, and also Cauldron is really my bread and butter kind of project where like, I don't have a million big games left in me anymore. And I'm currently at a point with Philadria, my new indie game company, where like, this needs to be it for me. I need to get serious about this. And Cauldron is a big, ambitious project, and things I'm doing now need to be big and ambitious if I'm going to make it. And I'm all in with this game. I think it can be exactly what I'm craving in a game to make, and I think to play. And I know that there's enough players out there in the world who would love a game like this to support it. I don't need 1 million people, right? I need like 1,000, like 1,000 people. You know what I mean? Like it's a modest number, and I think that the game could easily get that. Like who doesn't love? Well, okay, I know not everybody does, but I love witchcraft, and I love dark magic, and I love day-night cycles and planting things and watching them grow, and I love the option to go and be evil or to go and be cool. Like when I play Animal Crossing, sometimes I just want to be helpful and help everybody out, and sometimes I'll like build a fence around someone's house just to be a pain or something. You know what I mean? Maybe I should check up with chat.
Sometimes you gotta crack a fool on the head with a bug net. Wish that did something more in the game.
I know that was a big rant. I hope that was interesting. Let me know if anything particular pops up, John, if you would. I'll just keep walking through this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We got to get sound going too, because something you can't tell right now is I have frog sounds going, which is really cool.
Oh,
let me show you how I did that real quick. It's kind of cool. I don't think I'm sending you sound. I could set up a multi-channel thing. Should I do that?
I don't know. Do you wanna?
You know what? Let's give it one shot. We'll give it one shot, and if the multi-channel sound works, we'll use it, and if it doesn't, that's fine. But I'll change to multi-output device. You changed your microphone.
I'm gonna pause the music real quick then.
I don't think it's gonna work. Let me know if you hear a campfire.
I don't hear anything.
Do you hear, like, you should hear spinny sounds now?
I don't hear menu sounds or anything.
Okay, forget it. Let's whatever.
All right.
We'll figure that out another time. I just thought we'd give it a quick once over. I'll switch that back.
Thanks for tuning in, Ben. We'll see you next time.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out.
We are going to. We keep saying this every time we'll do this.
We'll get a schedule.
We're getting a schedule figured out. We've tried Sunday, but yeah, Sunday seems to be rough because I think people are gearing up toward Monday. It's probably going to be some, at
Yeah.
least once during the week, maybe twice. But yeah, we're getting a schedule down, and we're also trying to work around Matt's schedule because, like Matt said, he's going to start streaming his actual work on this. So definitely look for him during the
Yeah,
day,
this game.
or whenever you release your schedule. But you'll be streaming more, and then the two of us will probably be doing this at least once a week, maybe twice.
Yeah. Single best way to keep up with this game's development is through my newsletter at Valadria.com. For anyone interested. So I wanted to show you something real quick that I like about this game. Let me show you the beginning scene here. This is the lake scene. So check this out. I added some kind of helpers for myself. It's almost like I made a sort of map editor for myself, right? Like Unity has this tile map editor, and you can do anything with that. So what I did is I have this this layer, my actors layer, where I can add anything. And what I've added here is I've got like warps over here, right? I can drop lights. I drew little light bulb icons so you can tell what it is. And then I love this is what this is a frog sound icon, right? And so there's an actor that just spawned in the world, and all it does is sit there and make frog sounds. And so I know you can't hear it. That'll be for a future stream. But when you go into this area here, there's frogs playing, and it's actually because there's an invisible actor right here. I love that kind of thing. One of my kind of philosophies with when I'm making games is to kind of spread the complexity out. Like I could have added a frog system, or it could have been a property on my zone where I'm like, yeah, you drop a wave in here and it loops or something. But I've already got this really powerful, basically entity component system. It's just my own, language built on top of Unity's own system. My system is director, actor, role, but there's also entity component system type of stuff, right? But what I do in the system is I just make everything an actor. I just use that system as heavily as possible because it's really robust and flexible. So let's see if I can find it.
Do you have a little buzzing sound on the Firefly?
No, I should. That's a good idea. Where is it?
Lots of little
Here it is.
ambience and atmospherics and stuff seems like it would fit in with your theme here.
There. I turned on the sprite, so you can see the frog sprite there now. This is what the code does. Is there's a game object hider script, which you can see right there, and it just hides the sprite. Super cool.
The fire crackles and stuff, I assume.
These fires don't, but they should. This fire here does. That one.
The big bonfire.
Yeah, that's the finale. I call it the finale, but that's the you can kind of see one of my witch friends over there. But there's this big finale area at the end, so there's a big witch bonfire you can go and celebrate.
I love that detail as well, when that you see her hat. When she goes in the water, all you see is the hat.
Yes. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps it light.
I love that.
Little comic effect.
It totally does, yeah. Let me open up an area here. So I'll go into my lake scene. And what I did was I just barricaded this area out because hello.
Whoa,
because pull back. Because there's no reason for it yet. And here's some game dev advice. Don't build out too much. Right? Because I had this huge area and I was like, I gotta do something with this. And I was it doesn't, like, I guess the specific advice is don't do too much outside of your critical path at first, right? Because I had this, like, I eventually do want to have a big bog area, and I have really cool plans with what I'm going to do with the bog, right? But it's not on the critical path. This is all content stuff. This is all, once I pretty much finish the game and have at least my completed vertical slice or an MVP or something, then I get to add all the content that I want. I can have a bog and a sewer and a deeper forest and maybe a mountainous area or like a desert or something. I want to get there with everything, but right now I'm really just focusing on, like, what are the A, B, C, D, E done things that need the game to have, right?
So here's a question, Matt. And this comes down to our differing approaches to making games and our different experiences. So For anybody that doesn't
Mhm.
know, I've got a background. My experience has been primarily in. I mean, I've been working in VR for the last 6 years, but up until then, it was all. Um, I guess it was AAA. I don't know why I'm tentative. Why I'm like, oh, I don't want to say AAA. But it's been AAA. So like the question from that I was going to ask is probably a little bit more of because I'm coming at it from that standpoint. Is there a tail to this game? Do you have a roadmap, or do you ever think that way, or do you think like, when the game is done, it's done and it's out there and you move on to your next project? Like, would you ever put this out and then have like, okay, 3 months later you release? Because you just mentioned like alpha path MVP stuff, and then there's things that you'll either get to or you won't. Would you ever do a thing where you're like, okay, this is going to release and there is a whole other section of mountainous stuff that I didn't get to, but I'm going to go ahead and keep working on it, and then I'll basically do another soft launch in 3 or 4 months when that's ready to go, and rev up the hype cycle, and
Yes.
release it as like free DLC for people who already have it, or
Yes.
so you do think
That's
that way?
I absolutely do, and I think that that's one of the ways that an indie like me can actually be successful is by having essentially multiple launches, right?
Yep.
And making a big deal out of as much as you can. And also with me, with my strategy with Philadria, launching when I have what feels like enough is very important to my strategy. Like, okay, it's just enough. Bam, out the door. And if I can justify spending more time on it afterwards, then I will. And so the equivalent for me is going to be like some kind of free DLC. I would love to do it, but the game is going to have to earn its keep. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if it'll be hard, but if I go through all those paces and I launch the game and it just fails, it just does not break even or pay for itself, then I can't keep working on it. I've got to go find something that people care about more,
Mm-hmm.
to work on. So I do think about that a lot. What was the other thing I wanted to say there? I'm forgetting. I had
But
another
you
point.
you
I
you
should
don't make
write these
that
things
part of your
down.
plan though, right? You wouldn't release. You would measure it. You'd release and then measure, or would you release and then go, here's a roadmap? Roadmaps are big with games now. You got to release and you got to release. So what's your first 12-month roadmap and blah 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 blah. But I don't know
Yeah,
if you think at all like that. You do more like throw
I,
it
I
out there.
really, I really can't afford to. If I had a better runway, if I had a longer runway, I could, and I
Mm,
probably would. I would definitely like. I have a 2-year plan, which I'm actually already 6 months into my 2-year plan. But I am, I've got that going. Um, and if I had, a 5 or 6 year runway, my plans would largely be similar, but I would have a better idea of what it is that I'll be doing, say like after Cauldron,
right.
right? I would be like, I'm definitely going to circle back around to Crunchy or something. That's the moniker for the other project name. Or I have a bunch. There's another one. Expansion is another project that's kind of in my. That's another one that'd be fun to talk about sometime. I could open that up right now. But anyway,
We can get that one next time.
yeah. Where was I gonna go? I was gonna show you. So this is here it is. This is my debug room, and I put they're still on debug mode. Man, I gotta turn these rabbits off. What are they doing? Oh, they have the dib sprite is enabled.
You're still going after the 10,000 chickens or rabbit request. Is that what you're
Yes,
working
I
toward?
am. I will make those. I'll make those. I could put them into a wand, and maybe I will.
Mm.
What is it that I'm trying to turn off here? Oh, the Explorer.
How much do you have to do to break a game like this?
To break a game.
Yeah, like in Skyrim, you can go into the debug menu and you could spawn like 5,000 wheels of cheese or whatever, and it's fun to just see how long it takes before the game crashes.
Oh yeah, I don't think it would take all that much here. So my rabbits are very upset by my presence, and they're not having a good time. And I think these are all broken rabbits. Well, actually, they're not, okay. No, This is going way better than I thought it would. To be fair, this is not that many rabbits. Let me turn the lights on. Get a. Let me just make it daytime, I guess. Oh, it'd be real. Okay. See, maybe I'm just sadistic or something, but I was like, oh man, I gotta get this fire wand and start slaying some rabbits. I will. I'm gonna do it. Okay, it's daytime, so we can see the rabbits better. Is this the right? Yeah, it's the right room. Okay, so here's a bunch of rabbits. What happens if I just start? Could I just?
Oh my god.
What is that? I don't even see a fireball appearing. Do you?
No, but it's a
I
little
just see
choppy.
them dying.
Frame rate's a little choppy. Yeah, I see lots of jibs and I see lots of rabbit bodies.
It's like technically working, but it's weird. Okay, the frame rate's not bad.
It's pretty brutal.
This is all technically working. Yeah, they're just like, I just hit the button at the end. Like, okay, that's a bug I gotta fix. I don't know why all these rabbits were exploding. That is pretty funny though. You know what's great? I love about this system is the rabbits are separate from the blood. I used to have them all as one sprite, and it felt a little weird.
Can you fireball them through the wall, or do you have?
Whoa! They have a huge hitbox. That hitbox is way big. Oh, that's way too big. Oh! I know what's going on. I've completely destroyed the rabbit. You see this gigantic circle?
Yeah.
They can't have that. That is a fear collider. They are dying of fear from the fireballs. Let me turn that off. That should no longer happen. Let me go slay these rabbits again.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. You know, something that I've always loved from the very first game is the whole the thing in Zelda where you don't mess with the chickens.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Because they get super infuriated and they start coming after. Like, you can still attack them, but like they swarm you. There's just too many chickens to take on.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my. Yeah, I absolutely love that about Zelda.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is way less carnage. They were.
Yeah,
the dying of fear
I have
thing
a bug.
was,
So the I wonder why they shouldn't be getting afraid anymore. But basically, I added this gigantic, I call it a fear collider, but when the player touches the fear collider, the rabbit gets scared and runs away. And I have a bug where they are also detecting that as damage.
The fear sphere?
The fear sphere. Yeah, the fireball was hitting their fear sphere. Oh, it's also hitting their corpses. Check that out.
Whoa.
So yeah, I got some bugs. But I can also pick up rabbits. And this many rabbits is not chugging the system. I'm pretty pleased with that.
Can you, once you've picked up something, do you just put it down, or can you actually chuck it?
No, you can't throw it. I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
As you would imagine. Yeah, so throwing something changes it a lot. All of a sudden, you kind of want to turn on some components and turn off other components. You want to like make it a hazard and turn on a certain collider. It's pretty complicated. When I did that for my roguelike, I also made Unity called Witchy, which is on itch. What I did was, so say you pick up a stick, like I have a stick somewhere, like this is the exact sprite I used in Witchy. You could throw it, but instead of it changing the stick and being like, now I'm a stick projectile and I've got velocity and a collider and stuff like that, I just created a new object called thrown stick, which had all that stuff just to not have to mess with it. And so I don't want to do it that way in this game because I feel like that's sloppy and would also disturb my content pipeline, where instead of just having a stick, I now have to have a thrown stick. I would just want to have one type of thing. And I don't know exactly how I want to implement that cleanly. It's in my list of things I want. I want to be able to throw the stick. I want it. But it's also like not a must. There's other things that are more important. So I'm like, it's kind of on my back burner.
It's a nice to have.
It's a nice to have. I would like to see that. Yeah. Here's a crafting system. We haven't really looked at this much. Why not? Let's build a shovel. That doesn't work. I don't know how to build a shovel. Maybe it's this. There it is. There's
Check the wiki.
Okay, so it's like wood. Yeah, someday. Those are wood and a rock. I don't know what else I can make. We can go look at the recipes. A poison apple, an axe. What's the axe? Metal wood. Let's see. Metal wood. There's an axe. You're not carrying. Oh.
So you just find lumps of metal, right? You didn't get so much into it that you have to like smelt ore and stuff like that. You just like find metal.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a walkthrough of Cauldron and the my dev tools. Kind of like my playground anyway.
Very cool.
So let's see. Let me look at my notes. Here's something we could do is add debris. Wait, hang on. Fireball can shoot rabbit corpses. Fireball can shoot rabbit fear. You can basically shoot a rabbit like it's so scared of a fireball that it kills it.
Yeah.
It might be fun to add a piece of content like a new wand or I have no idea. If you have any ideas, let me know. You as well, chat. But I've got a pretty good content pipeline here, and I also have some placeholder graphics, so I could just shove something in if you have an idea that would be easy to execute. Right? Like I'm not gonna.
You mentioned dust bunnies too.
Yeah. You want to see him again? We saw him earlier, but let's take a look. So, what I'll do is I will grab. That's not the one I want. I want the hourglass. I'm gonna go to the overworld map here. I'm gonna go into the witch house, which I know has dust bunny generation, and then I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna speed it up a lot, and we should see dust bunnies appearing. And we don't. Why? Why are you like this? Demoitis. Wait, so where's the...
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm a little disappointed, honestly.
No. Demoitis.
I see him right there. I see him looking at me with his little plus sign.
Works on my machine.
Yeah. Well, they were in here earlier.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was your dust bunny an actual bunny?
The ones in here? Or are you talking to chat? Here's a dust bunny.
Oh, okay.
Like it's supposed to look like a bunny, but it's supposed to also just be like dust.
Right. Okay.
It's a weird thing. I don't know why they're not appearing. That really bothers me. I guess I should write that down. Oh, hey, the weeds appeared. Okay, let's try that. I was going to show you that earlier, but they weren't spawning. And now the dust bunnies aren't spawning. Why are things selectively breaking? The first time I ever demo this. Okay, so if I speed up time, in theory, that weed is supposed to grow. Ah, that's doing it.
There it goes.
Okay, there it goes. Okay, it's doing it. And like, the weeds normally do not do this, but I have time traveling at 57,000 times normal speed. So that's pretty cool. And what you can do with the weeds is you can pick them. Pick. And if you don't like that, guess what? You can always enchant a tool. Pick.
What tool gets? Do you have like a scythe or something?
Nothing I have made yet. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
But I will.
Lawnmower.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a lawnmower, a riding lawnmower, in my dark fantasy game.
Do you have we mentioned this early. Gosh, we mentioned this at the very beginning of the stream when we were talking about cinematography. Have you done any investigation into adding like a post effect stack or anything like that, or a LUT or any of that stuff?
Yeah, that's something we were kind of talking about earlier. Is like a layer of grime or something. So I'll show you how I do it, and I'll show you. We can talk about the problem I need to solve. It's probably just a Unity solution. and I don't know much about the guts of Unity, especially stuff like shaders. Let me make it daytime. Okay, so you see here how the grass looks like it's got this line, this unattractive line, like that repeating pattern.
Yeah.
So the reason for that is because if I go into my sprites here, let's pick this one. No, not that one. This one. No, this one's good.
Vincent says he's going to talk to you about post-processing tomorrow.
Oh, fantastic. I do have questions. So my sprite is just a big sprite sheet, and I overlay the whole thing with a texture layer. And because of that, the texture layer is not repeating, even though the sprites are repeating. And so what you're seeing here is the texture layer. And so what I really want is, I guess, either to bake into the sprite itself at runtime, or when this map is generated, to bake in a texture, like a big old texture, or a repeating, maybe a repeating texture that could be laid on top. It could also be something that's done global on the whole screen. There's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But really what I want is the equivalent of like a multiply layer, like in Photoshop, like a nice, piece of parchment paper or something.
Yep.
Just to add some grit to my otherwise, pretty clean graphics.
Thanks for tuning in, J-Huck.
Yeah, it is getting late. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. That's awesome. Hope you have a good one. More to come.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw a bug there with my critters where they get stuck together. I gotta fix that. So what were we talking about? We got about a half hour left. We could walk through the game, or we could add something, or we could talk about something else. So many options.
Let's talk. I mean, I can leave your screen up here and you can just kind of idle around if you'd like. Doesn't matter to me. Let me know if you want to stop fussing with that and I can switch the scene back. There's something that we talked about earlier today on our Discord. You and I discussed this, and I think it's as long as we're talking about I mentioned how I asked you about you had some projects going and now you've kind of switched back to this, and you're talking about doing some streaming, picking up doing some streaming on this live and sort of like dev streaming, stream your actual work on this. Something I'm curious about, something that I've been working on now for 2.5 years since my company's decided to be permanently work from home during COVID. And something I'm curious about how that all indies got to deal with is just sort of like scheduling your day, coming up with an approach to like, because like I work at a company and it's kind of like we have core hours, right? You're expected to work at least core hour. The core hours is a small chunk of the day in the middle, but you start either 2 or 3 hours before that, or you work 2 or 3 hours after it. But like there's a schedule and there's lunchtime and you need to interface. You gotta have meetings and stuff. You gotta interface with people all day long. So there's like an imposed structure on my day. But like as an indie, how do you? It seems to me that it would be a challenge to. You have to have the discipline to impose a structure on yourself, right? So I know you've been grinding through certain things. You had objectives and goals that you needed to reach with your book and your podcast and stuff. But now that you're going to, now that you're looking at working more on Project Cauldron here and starting to do streaming stuff, what's your approach been to thinking about like how to structure your day?
Good question. Yeah. The benefit I have when scheduling stuff is I am the kind of weirdo who just wants to work 24/7. especially when I'm in this lucky position now where I get to work on, like, if I want to, I can work on a book thing or a podcast or this game or another game. You know, I worked hard to get into this spot where I can kind of pick my projects and whatnot, right? And so for me, it's like I have to kind of find time to not be working. I have to carve out time of my day to go and like actually be social and talk to people and exercise and get away from the computer. Um, and so like, you know, I don't need to be like, all right, I'm gonna work on my game. I gotta carve out time. I'm gonna work on my game Monday, you know, noon to 5 or something. Like I don't even need to do that because I'm just like zoop, like a magnet. I just bam, I am there on the computer working. Like you can't stop me. It's the other stuff. The other stuff is hard for me. Getting into the writing practice. My whole thing with being indie this time is I'm not gonna do it like we did with the LDG. I have a plan and a strategy that I've thought about, and I've, you know, applied lessons I've learned and stuff. I'm just trying to get like a 2-week cadence where I have, here's a new podcast, or here's something like, remember that I'm alive and I'm making stuff. Don't forget about me, you know. That's the stuff where I do have to be like, oh, okay, it's Monday. I need to sit down and finish this podcast. Or, actually, that's all I currently have. But I'm beefing up that schedule where, like, you know, I know I need to be, you know, outspoken and available and loud about my game, right? Because no one else is gonna like market it for me. I have to go and promote it, or no one will ever have heard of it, and it'll release to crickets, right? And for that reason, you know, normally I would just be like, yeah, I worked on my game throughout the whole week. I loved it. It was great. Now I'm going to need to be like, okay, whatever that is, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I need to be streaming, right? Like I will be doing that for 5 hours or whatever. So yeah, I think for me, it's like I mostly have to plan and schedule around the parts that don't just come naturally and don't just flow out of me. Like I can't even, you know, like I'm not the kind of person who just, I know I've known people who are just like, I just run. I have to run. I'm a runner. You're like, oh, I'm on my bike every day. I can't help myself. That's great. I love it when people have that, right? I'm not like that with exercise. I'm the kind of person where I have to have a structure. It has to be like, okay, I am exercising today. Here I'm doing it. I need to be forced to, you know?
Yeah.
But not the game development. And not a lot of the book and podcast stuff too. Like making videos is really fun. It has a lot in common with game dev. And I have other things like that too. Like I like to cook. Like you can't stop me from cooking sometimes. I just got to do it. But what about you? Is like, I know that you used to have like a real, you know, rigid like noon workout every day. But what's it been like for you schedule wise?
Well, like I said, luckily the fact that I have other people, even working from home, the fact that I have other people who I need to interact with every day really helps me to keep a structure to the day. Because like, you know, I had a couple weeks vacation a couple weeks ago, which was great. You know, it's summer, went and, you know, spent some time in some lakes, rivers, oceans, at the pool. You know, we had like a heat wave here, and it's you spend time with the kids and stuff. Like that was cool. But yeah, I don't, without the structure of my day, I realized without the structure of the day, there's certain things that I don't like. I eat at irregular times. I skip my workouts. I have always, ever since working at EA, because I worked at the EA headquarters in Redwood Shores in the Bay Area, and that was big campus, you know, like 3 or 4 buildings or something, and they had like a dedicated gym, and I got into the routine there of going and working out every single day at noon, at lunch. That was just like what you did, unless there was some kind of team lunch or something, and then that was always like, oh damn, now I'm gonna miss the workout. But like on my vacation, without that structure there, I was like skipping my workout. I was getting exercise doing all the other stuff we were doing, but I was like, I kind of need that sort of I need some structure kind of imposed on me. You know what I mean? And also like I've switched, you know, you and I have talked about this before, that how I had a gym that was right across the street from the studio here in the town I live in, and it was great because it was literally right there. Zero friction. We've talked about friction points, right? And there was zero friction to going and doing that because it's literally right there. Since working from home, I know that it would be too much friction to try to get into town, even though it would only take me 10 minutes to bike ride to the gym. I know that that's friction, and I know myself. And so we've changed our whole half of our garage into a gym, and I go down there and I do it, but I still have to, since there's not it's not a class with coaches and other people, and I have to be there at 12 o'clock on the dot. Yes. Some days I'm not starting until 1, or I'm taking my lunch late, or, I'm like, but yeah, it's interesting because, like, I think if I weren't working for a company and I was doing indie thing like you were doing, it would be very hard for me. It would be very challenging. That would be one of the first things that I would have to tackle, would be like, okay, you got to drag your ass out of bed by X time. You have to go to lunch at X time. You got to be done and, turn off your work computer at X time and switch modes. And, I would need to, it would require an amount of discipline that I don't know that I have, like, my whole life, with kind of, being a flake. Like, left to my own devices, I just turn into like I turn feral. And I'll just, I'll sleep until noon, and, stay up all hours of the night. And yeah, it would be hard.
I feel like we all have those tendencies, right? At least sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, I resort to those modes. I'm very much like, when my wife goes out of town, I do resort to that, where I'm like, I stop taking care of myself and stuff. But the constant for me is like, I don't really have an upper limit for working on games. It doesn't sap my energy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I get, the only reason I stop is because life obligations, or my body is giving out.
Right.
I have these ergonomic keyboards now, or else I wouldn't be working as much as I am now. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing everything I can to just try to maximize my output. And also, like, more than that, even, like, I spend a lot of time making games. I should probably be making more and shipping more and stuff like that. But I just really love the process. And those are the things in life that I think, if you love exercising, you're going to be in great shape, because you're just going to do it. And I love making games. I love the last 2 days I've mostly been fixing bugs, and like these stupid rabbits, like, they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you know what I mean? But like, I'm having a great time with these rabbits. It just feels like I'm I don't know how to describe it, other than like, it just feels like I'm doing the correct thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels right. Even like, okay, look at this buggy ass rabbit. That's not right, but
Mm-hmm.
also awesome. I love it. That rabbit's going to go to sleep. Boom. Sleepy little rabbit.
There he
so
is.
Cute. And now he's going to run away from me because I'm scary witch.
Can you sneak up to it?
Nah, come on.
No. Okay.
No, I do want to add that, actually. I have the capacity to add to where only if you're running will the rabbit get spooked. And also, like, the rabbit should probably not let you just pick it up.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe it should bite you or something. Like, there's things that, what do you there's definitely
dancing
things
around on the water.
I don't think he knows how to handle water. Okay, just today I stopped him from walking off of the island. Like, earlier today he would have gone shoo and just ran off into the abyss. And he wouldn't have fallen or anything. He just would have been trapped in space. But now I've got this where,
when you change zones, would there have been a garbage collection that would have, like, gotten rid of him, or would he just have sat there?
No, it'd be saved permanently, etched into your hard drive.
No. I mean, would the game continue to still think about him as in that state? And, like, so could you have multiple rabbits that, like, run off the screen, and your game remembers them, and so you could, like, eventually you're like, why is the perp so bad? And you're like, oh, that's because I have 300 rabbits who've run off the map over here, and the game won't forget about them.
You could, for sure. Yeah. Yep, that's an active bug. Yeah.
Are you?
I don't know.
Yeah, memory leak made of rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rabbit leak. The level's leaking rabbits.
Yeah.
Are you gonna find it? I mean, I think you're pretty disciplined about getting up at a reasonable time and stuff. Are you gonna find it as you try to set a schedule for yourself for streaming? Or are you gonna find that you feel You think that's going to feel restrictive at first, where you're like, ah, man, like.
I think the only thing for me is I don't ever want to dread going to bed or waking up. Because those are the parts I never had much control over when I was gainfully employed. And it was like, you know, you really need to be up at a reasonable-ish time and like available, or like people will tell you, like you'll hear about it. You know what I mean? Like you in my salary positions, I would just, it seems like it's such a small thing, right? But it was like, you know, it is. Some days it's like Wednesday and you don't want anyone to bother you until like noon or something. Like some days you just like, what is an hour or two? Like get off my ass or something, you know?
Yep.
And for me, I've found that like I have a lot of capacity just during your normal day for whatever life throws at you. It throws all kinds of crap at you all the time. That's all fine. But to me, I get grumpy when it's like, oh, I can't stay up till 2 a.m. tonight. But I'm like, I'm jamming. Like I can't really control when I have my most productive times. You know what I mean? I would like to, but sometimes it's like from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I hate it when it's like I got a meeting or I got a work thing at 9 a.m. the next day.
Yeah. And
then likewise, like, I don't want to have to set an alarm if I can help it. Like, I don't know. I tend to be very patient with stuff. Like, you know, if I'm working at like a startup, it's like, come on, we got to move. A lot of times I'm like, software takes a long time to make. Like what really, like, unless it's a bug or something on fire, like what really, you just got to see this feature, like, calm down. Like, you know what I mean? Like just wait till like, it'll be done tomorrow. It doesn't need to be done at 3 p.m. And things are better when they bake. And like, you know, it's taken me a while to be comfortable with this, but I needed to hear it from someone else, I think. But programming, a lot of programming, like the majority of programming is thinking. It's not typing. It's typing. You're not typing. Most of the time you're programming. And I know that seems counterintuitive because programming is just writing code. It's just typing, right? But like, this is the most common stance for a programmer. You're like, you know what I mean? It's not this. It's not like just typing. Like, yeah, there are bursts of that and there are moments of that. But you know, I'll write like, okay, 4i = 0, blah blah blah, finish the line, and then okay, I'm gonna need to blah blah. And like before I even start writing that code, a lot of times I'm thinking. Anyway, I have a lot of patience. I think things take a lot of time, and I guess it's my rambly way of answering your scheduling question. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you, it's actually beneficial to not have a schedule because you're not sure when inspiration is going to hit. Sometimes real life happens, and sometimes, you know, you don't get your mojo going until freaking 8 p.m. And then if you had something that prevents you from then working, that's actually a big problem. I know what you mean about the time. There was a guy we worked with several years ago who used to talk about animator time, and we busted his chops about it because it was a little bit like he would talk about, he worded it poorly. He made it sound like he just sits around and like does nothing for he called it like Animator Thursday or something, and he was like, Thursday's when I get all my work done. And we're like, so what do you do? What do you do the rest of the week? But I knew at the heart of what he was talking about is that, yeah, there is a lot of, I mean, I think you get that with all disciplines where there's a certain amount of like, okay, I need to be inspired in order to, as an artist, I need to be, I have the hardest time with like, okay, 10 a.m., sit down with your cup of coffee and start creativity. And, you know, oftentimes you're just like, I don't have it in me right now. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm not feeling it. I need to stare at the wall for an hour or something, and like, you know, let my brain kind of get to that point. And there's not always a prescribed do X, Y, and Z and then boom, creativity. Like that, it doesn't happen like that. And a lot of the times you need to sit there and think about, you know, that's one of the benefits of actually taking a break in the middle of my day and going and doing a workout, and running was always great for me at EA. I'd go for a nice long run at lunch, and man, I would find that like while I'm out running, listening to music, I'd put on some, some energetic music to get me going on the run. But then like I would come back from the run with like a lot of good ideas. Like it would force you get your blood pumping and get out and move your body, because the mind and the body, we're all one big organic lump. And it all works together, one big machine. And so like getting exercise actually can help to clear your mind and help to get that creative juice going.
Absolutely. Yeah. Vincent talking about going on a walk. What's up, Sam and Moose? Yeah, showers. I got these not post-it, but like these suction cuppy sticky things. We have it in our shower. So I have there's a pencil with a suction cup on it that sticks to the wall, and a little writing pad, and like my drawer is full of them, because when I'm in the shower, I can't help it. It's just, that's a good idea, and it could be anything. It's most random stuff. A lot of times, like one time it was a this is so random. It was an idea for a scene in a made up episode of The Office. For some reason, I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh, that'd be really funny if Michael Scott was in this scenario, and I just wrote it out. Like, I don't know why, right? And I felt the need to write it down, but I like that I could, That's when inspiration hits you, is when you don't have access to your computer, right? That cutoff, like you need sometimes that, almost with scissors, just get me away from it, and then the ideas come at you.
I know that there's a lot of like writers and musicians who will keep like some kind of like a sound recording app on their phone, and they'll just randomly throughout the day like fire it up and do whatever kind of or hum into their phone if some kind of tune or a beat or oh god. All right, I'm gonna go back.
Probably should have given you a heads up.
That's my giant head on the screen. Sorry, everybody.
John.
Hello. They'll either say something and they'll record it. They're out and about. They don't have pen and paper, and so they'll use their phone and just kind of quickly say something into it so that they leave notes for themselves. I love. For years now, I've used I used Evernote for a while, but for a long time now I've been using OneNote, and I love the fact that it's it's cloud-based, it's cross-platform. On my phone, my iPad, my computer, wherever, I can just fire up. Having something that's synced across all platforms and being able to organize, the thing I love about OneNote is that it's like folders with notebooks inside of them and pages and stuff, and it just lets you go like, okay, here's this whole tab is my thoughts about this, and then I can just make a new page, boom, bullet points of ideas, blah blah blah, and like just being able to dump stuff. And I've got Evernote, I've got Evernote notes going back to I don't know when, 2010 or something, where I was just writing crap down. Great. It's funny to go back and look at look at what dumb ideas were bouncing around. It's kind of like a diary.
Hold on to those forever.
But it's more of like bullet point, just dumps of random game ideas and stuff. But it's like hilarious and embarrassing, but also good to have.
This middle filing cabinet thingy here is full of game ideas. Game designs. It's thick with failure. No, it's thick with ideas. It's like pages. I have something I always have right here at my desk is graph paper, baby. I love it, and I just brain dump. I've noticed in the mornings a lot. I'll get up after I've fed the dogs and walked the dogs, maybe exercise or something. I'll have like a coffee or something, and I sit down and just blah. It just comes out of the. I'll either be like writing if I'm working on a book, or I'll have lots of game ideas, and I just crank out sheets of graph paper. And if they're good, I stick them in a box. If they're bad, I throw them away. And if they're really good, they stay on my desk, and I, digitize them. Or I make them, Trello issues, or more likely it's a to-do bullet point on my to-do file, which is currently, I don't even want to know. Oh, I'm afraid to look. 409 lines long.
Wow. Have you ever tried to use dot paper instead of graph paper?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I like it.
I figure it would be good for doing like if you're wanting to do some like sort of 3/4 orthographic kind of like Landstalker kind of like sketches or
would be.
something
It
like
would
that,
be.
it'd be perfect
Yeah,
for that, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Does anybody get that Landstalker reference? Because if not, I've got some news.
Get the box.
It's time for Matt. Get the box. I can't help it. Why else do I have these if I can't shove them in your face when you mention the name of the game? Remember when games were? Ooh, I just want to bite it.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is something we should talk more about someday too. Is manuals. Ooh, look at that color. Look at that shine. Look at that. Genesis. Real big. You probably can't hear me because I'm talking off mic, but you
I could hear you.
look at that. Look at that.
I just
Cool.
I missed the artwork that was in those. Like some of the artwork that was in the original Zelda game stuff was really good. And you know, you and I have talked a lot about how the original that's
Awesome.
cool stuff. The original Masters of the Universe figures came with those my mic. Came with those little tiny comic
those little
books.
comics.
Yeah, and there was some awesome art in there. It was another. I mean, it's the same, I guess, if you were when you hear people say, I'm not a vinyl person, but when you hear someone talk about like what they like about vinyl, it's because you would get these big cool covers, you open it up and you had all the lyrics in there and stuff. Like, I guess it was the same way with. There were some tapes, cassette tapes. When you'd get them, you'd open them up and they would kind of, and they'd fold out and they'd have all this cool content in there and they had a certain smell to them and stuff. And like there was something about that whole tangibility. Yeah, but that died with. I mean, I guess after CDs we went to digital and then that was it, right?
It's almost like people have hands and like to touch things, and when everything in the world is digital, we crave the tangible. That is why you can see it here. There, musical keyboard.
Yeah.
And importantly, it has knobs, it has pads. Ooh, they feel so nice. It's got a little tiny screen, but like you can go, you can wah with this thing here. You got the
Yep.
You got sliders and you got all kinds of things to touch, and that's really important to me for music stuff anyway.
It's why I need to plug back in this guy, and that guy's still plugged in.
3D.
Yeah, 3D printing stuff. Like there's something about like being able to go, and it's why I love the iPad so much, because the iPad, Vincent mentioned physical paper, with the right screen protector and the right app. The Apple Pencil like feels very, very close to, well, certainly way closer to pen and paper than any Wacom technology has ever felt for me. Like it's you get a nice bite with a nice matte screen on there, and something like Procreate does such a fantastic job of simulating pencils that it's the first digital program that I felt like I could truly sketch in. Because what I used to do is I would just sketch in a notebook and then scan it or whatever, and then I would like basically ink in on the computer or whatever, because I felt like I couldn't get that digital. I couldn't. You give me a pencil on paper, or give me a cheap ballpoint pen where you can sit there and you can do very light or hard sketches with a just a crappy Bic pen is the best sketching tool. And then I would scan it, but like Procreate, I actually like I can decently sketch in there and not feel like I'm effing something up or missing something.
Yeah, I agree with that. It took a lot of effort to get my old Wacom feeling nice and toothy. It was pretty easy to get the iPad feeling that way. I got one of those. It's not a like one of those. I can't think of the word. Like a screen protector, right? It's not meant to be a screen protector. It's meant to add that toothiness.
Yeah.
It's meant to be invisible. It's not meant to change the look or protect it. It's meant to make it more like paper, and it does.
Yeah. I tried a paper-like. There's a brand of iPad iPad screen protectors called Paper-like, and I tried it, and I
think that's what I have.
I didn't. I felt like it was. I felt like it was gonna like chew the shit out of my pen or something, and like I don't know, something about. I think maybe it was also a little too rainbowy or something. Like I don't know. There's something about it that just didn't.
The rainbowiness is not great.
Yeah. So I found a good go between, or a good in between, where it's like it's just toothy enough and it doesn't. I mean, anything you put on the screen is going to affect it somewhat, but I found,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta like, screen protectors are weird because like you need to actually, everybody's eye is different, so you need to actually like get the damn things and stick them on there and then let it see if it, you know, see if it works. It's they're very individual.
Yeah. Remarkable tablet.
Mm.
I'm intrigued by the new stuff coming out. I saw now in we watched Sandman. They had one of those flip phones where the screen itself bends when you. And I'm like, okay, that's some new technology I haven't seen before. The subscription does bum me out though. I'm actually hooked up to the Clip Studio Paint subscription. It's like $2 a month. It's like, you know, I get so much value out of that app, but at the same time, it's just annoying because on desktop I bought it on sale one time. It was like $25 or something, which is a steal.
Yeah.
An absolute steal for such a good piece of software. But you know, I'm paying that every year on iOS. So it's just like, it's weird that like Mac, like OS X is technically way more powerful, and it also is like, bam, one time buy and you own it. And then iOS is like, oh, it's like a, you know, it's Clip Studio Paint, but it's a little trimmed down just because it's on iOS. Oh, and it's way more expensive if you think about it.
But is
Like,
it though?
that's odd.
Clip Studio on iPad is an amazing program because I like, what
It is.
functionality is missing? I don't think there's anything missing from it, is there?
Nothing, but you still have to deal with iOS to deal with it. Like I can't just go send that to Clip Studio Paint or copy paste or like you have to go through the iOS crap. You know what I'm talking about? Like
I have to export this as a PST to my Dropbox folder. You can't just go like,
Yeah.
file save. Boom,
oh,
saved.
you want two apps open? Like something I do all the time. I'll like drag Windows images from Chrome into Finder into Clip Studio Paint or what, you know. Everything is a breeze on desktop. You know what I mean? Like I am a shark in water on desktop. And you put me on iPhone and I'm like, or any mobile, and I'm like, oh, me type chat, hi, I be there, Soren. Like that's me.
Yeah.
I slowed. I'm like I'm at 10 times slower and more typo ridden. I've been using iPad for years. I just last week learned how you split app, and you have one app on the left and one app on the right.
Yeah.
And even that is super limited. It only lets you go in like 25 on desktop. I use this thing called Divi. I've got you on the left. I've got chat on the right. I can switch the window. I've got keyboard shortcuts. Boom, 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 boom. I can fly the windows around. I'm amazing. I'm like a wizard on desktop. Not mobile. You know what I'm saying?
I've successfully used the split thing like once, I think, to do some like okay, I'm gonna have a browser over here with some reference images, and I'm gonna have Procreate over here, and I'm gonna draw. Like I've done it, but it's also like you're not dealing with as much screen real estate stuff. So like the better way to do that, honestly, is to take your iPad and sit in front of your computer, and then you're like, this feels like more work than it should be. You know.
Yeah.
But hey, it's way better than I remember when I was at way back at EA. I desperately wanted to be able to draw digitally, like on the go, and I had one of those big ass like Cintiq Companion. You remember those? They were like portable. It was like a whole PC in a tablet. The thing was like stupidly big, and it was you're using Windows, which sucks, and it was like the fans would kick on and stuff, and it was like really annoying. And I took it to some figure drawing classes and drew with it and stuff, but I still felt like half the time I'm sitting there farting around with the technology of stuff. I do like that about the iPad is like if you just want to stay in Procreate or whatever, it's like magic. Psh, there you go. But yeah, you're right. As soon as you want to use it as a computer or something like that, it does get annoying.
Yeah. Things are way better than they were though. Like my previous drawing situation was Wacom 12WX, this big thing that had just like an octopus of cables that came out of it. It really did. It was really cumbersome to move it around. Once you had it set at like a static desk, it was good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got my iPad. That's it right there. I'm terrible at this. There it is. It's just sitting there. It's on a little stand. I could have it here in 2 seconds. I can go sit on the couch with it. I can throw it in my backpack. If I ever need to travel, I can draw anywhere.
It's really good.
It's hard to beat that. Yeah, it's the same reason, I'm at my desktop 99% of my life, but I still just can't pry myself away from MacBook Pro. I refuse to give up the ability to be mobile if I would like.
Yeah, same. I had ever since I was first starting to get into VR in like 2015 or something, I bought an Alienware laptop and I hooked it up to a eGPU enclosure, and it's great. Like it's a full desktop experience. It's loud because there's a lot of fan action going on, but like I didn't ever, very very rarely would I unplug the laptop and take it away, but I love knowing that I could do that. Same with my MacBook's sitting here. It spends most of its life sitting on my desk, but I know sometimes I pick it up and it weighs nothing. I could take it in the other room and it's not nerfed in any way, and there it is. It's the full experience, and I like that so much more than I got this big bulky tower.
Yeah, I did consider for a moment like an iMac, it's called, whatever the Mac Tower is. I was surprised they're even more expensive. I guess they're just even beefier. But yeah, Apple products in general are just very expensive.
Yeah, they are.
It sucks that they're so expensive and they're also so good. It bothers me.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're just like ever since I started working, web jobs, like my first time I started working at Yahoo, I remember the guy who had interviewed me was the guy I ended up working with on the first product I was working at. And he was like, okay, they're going to ask you if you want a MacBook and a Windows Tower or a Windows laptop and a iMac. And you're going to say that you want a MacBook and a Windows Tower. And I'm like, okay, why? He's like, MacBooks are awesome. Windows Towers are fine. Yeah. iMacs are fine. And Windows laptops are fine. So you want to go with fine and awesome, not fine and fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I'd never used anything. Like I was using Linux last like 3-4 years. I had PC gaming and stuff, but like at work, it was always Linux. So I was like, I don't know. And he sold me with, it's got native terminal. You got bash, native bash. You don't know. Do you know what native bash means, John?
No.
With like, it's command line tools, right? Yeah. If you wanted to get that equivalent on Windows, you had to use like Cygwin. It's all this tech crap. But, one of the things I still love to this day is like I use the terminal heavily. You probably saw me using it a little bit when we were doing some game dev earlier, but terminal's like my home. And when I don't have it, like when I'm on Windows, I'm like, what? Like that's why I feel good on Linux still. Like I've been using my Steam Deck Linux desktop sometimes, and I feel right at home. I use it just like I do OS X. Pop open Chrome, editor, terminal. There you go. I can type commands, like FFmpeg. It's great. Everything I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that like if you really really had to use Windows as your desktop, because for me when I made the recent purchase to get a 14 and before a MacBook 14, I was like just because I want it, like it's like I really really wanted it, and I love having the whole ecosystem. But that being said, if I had to just pick one thing, like when I had a Windows personal computer and I had the iPad, that was also fine. It was like, it's fine. Like going over to Mac OS on the desktop hasn't been like as earth shattering as the iPad Pro and a pencil has been. You know what I mean? Like if
that's a game changer.
Yeah, I would say that that's the thing to go for. And then like once you're then into the Mac ecosystem, you'll probably find yourself wanting to, at that point, if you really like it, if it clicks with you, then anytime you spend with Windows, it's just going to be annoying. And you'll probably end up eventually wanting to get a Mac OS system, but the iPad is really the one for me that was like, that's, and also, you get a Magic Keyboard and it's like, it very easily, this is the thing that I use most of the time.
That's kind of a space age look.
Yeah. And this thing it's a tank, it's built like a tank. The keyboard works great. The trackpad works great. Like it's excellent. Love the iPad Pro. Great art tool. It's a great media tool.
This stream is sponsored by Apple products.
Yo, Apple, hit us up.
By John Hackett.
Yeah, I'm a total Apple fanboy. I admit it.
Post your affiliate link, John.
Yeah, I wish.
That's funny.
All right.
Yes.
Well, we should probably
I didn't
wind
know
down.
about WSL. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I just wanted to comment
What
on
is
that.
WSL? What is?
It sounds like it's a new what you'd use now instead of Cygwin, but it gives you access to Linux. Install Linux on Windows with WSL. Cool. I would probably try that out. I do have now a Windows machine under my desk here. I didn't have access to it for a long time, but now I do. So I might get back into it, at least for gaming. Man, you can't play anything on OS X. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that because I need to bookmark that. That's good stuff.
Okay.
Whoops.
So it's almost like Parallels or something. For Parallels is what lets you run Windows and Mac OS, and so the WSL is sort of like that for Linux and Windows.
Sounds to me like it would at least let you run while you still have Windows open. I hate having to reboot. We talked about the friction thing. Like I've seen computers where you can boot into Windows or boot into OS X, but man, that takes a while. It might take you 5 or 10 minutes. Especially Windows will be like, "Oh, you want to restart? No problem." 17 minutes. I'm installing an update. You're like, "No, wait, I changed my mind."
Boot Camp is the one that you have to like boot into Windows with a Mac, and versus Parallels, it just sort of runs it inside. It runs an environment inside Mac OS.
Yeah. Very thick. Linux layer. Yeah, it's you wouldn't know, John. You never miss Linux capabilities when you don't have them.
No.
But us developers, we all want a good terminal. If we have a good terminal, we usually can figure it out. And if not, we're like, how do I get a terminal going? What is it? Is it Cygwin or what is this? WSL? Let's try it.
No, just give me iPad Pro, Apple Pencil, and then give me $25. $25 gets you Procreate, and it gets you Nomad Sculpt. No subscription nonsense. None of that BS. You just purchase them, and then you own them. Love it. Yeah, that's my main complaint with Clip as well. For desktop, I think I'm still running on the same. You bought me, I believe, Manga Studio Pro or Manga Studio back way back when. I did. It's the same key. Manga
Studio,
yeah, that has continued to carry forward. They've continued to support it over all these years, and so I still have that license. I'll probably upgrade it to an EX license next time they go on sale. I think they usually do sales in September or something. But
I did. You don't need it though.
The only thing is that line art thing. The line art capability is nice, but then again, I think because I was doing that the time we drew, I was showing you like this my beholder model and stuff, how you can position it, and then you can just be like, give me line art, and it goes boop, and it gives it to you. That's pretty cool, as opposed to posing it and having to and then drawing it and then be like, I wish I could change it. Yeah.
Can you print any of those 3D models you've made? Because you were putting them. You should show us that sometime on the stream. But you had some cool models. You had like a chicken head and a beholder.
Yeah.
And some other stuff you should show us.
Yeah, I will.
But can you print those? Because that is a 3D. Okay, you should try to print those.
The cool thing about 3D print too, this is a complete nerdy thing. Krita is nice. I don't really know Krita, but I have it installed and I've played with it, and its brushes feel really good. So and I know that I follow some artists on Twitter that use Krita a lot, and Krita's cool. Yeah. Props. Krita's like basically it's the 2D art version of Blender, right? So it's open source and free and does a lot of cool shit.
It's on my list of stuff to try. Yeah, Vincent, I'll help you with art and you help me with Unity post-processing. How's that?
The cool thing about 3D printing that I was going to say is that you don't have to optimize anything. Like you can throw you just open up a 4 million poly model in the slicing program, and it just you can just like the you don't have to be like, the geo doesn't need to be watertight. You don't have to retopo anything in order for it to 3D print. Like you can literally just throw in raw stuff, and the slicer will just sit there and figure it out, and then you throw it in the printer and ta-da.
Retopo? What is that?
You
got your jargon coming out. Last time it was IKs.
IK
and this is
IK and FK. We talked about
retopo.
Retopo is the topography of a model. When you sculpt something, your sculpting program is going to just make it. It's going to be super it's going to be millions of polygons. It's not going to be anything that's usable. So in order to retopo it, you're redoing the topography of the model. You basically need to...
You're reducing the polygon count.
Yeah, and you want to do it... It's something that, like, you can... Programs will automatically do it, but, like, most people... The best way to do most things, actually, is by hand, right? And so, yeah, there's a process of, like, okay, well, I've got this sculpt. Now I need to basically come up with some, like, more game-ready topography for it, and then you're doing a high to low res transfer to generate normal maps and cavity maps and all your other stuff that you need to get from it. Anyway, but yeah, all that is like doesn't matter for 3D print. For 3D printing, you're like, if it's super high, if it's got a bunch of little details, you're like, great, because that'll come out in the print. You know, I'm printing resin and it'll all come out and it'll look awesome. You don't want to get
resin is the high definition one.
Resin, oh yeah, no, people do hand tweak their slice files for sure. I haven't gotten that into it, but resin is the one that is the I don't have the biggest resin model I've printed so far is I made my wife a like a 5-inch tall version of the little buddy Jesus from Dogma, from the movie Dogma. You remember that? Like George Carlin played the priest. There was like a little model of Jesus going like, hey.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I showed off some little models that I've got. But yeah, resin is more like if you're making minis. Like if you're making little, 2-inch tall D&D figures or something, resin's what you want to use, because it's a different process versus filament is sitting there laying down layer after layer and building it up. And so you're limited by the gauge of the filament and how small the little thing is, and it's also you end up with more kind of striations in the model, and it just can't get the fidelity that. And this is an old 3D printer, actually. This is only like a 2K screen on it that bakes in the resin. They do like 4 and 6K screens now, but luckily everything I've seen, the reviews of it seem to be that the resolution is you can't really tell. You have to like get under a microscope in order to. The naked eye can't really tell with it, because resin models are. Most of them are
very cool,
really good. Anyway,
so how long does it take to print a 3D thingy usually? Does it take about one stream, which is to say what's supposed to be 2 hours and usually goes over?
Yeah,
two plus about a movie that feels like it goes on a little long.
Yeah, you know what?
How long it takes?
So filament, because it builds up, the filament takes a lot longer to generate a print. Resin printers are faster. Yeah. Also, I mean, what you're generating is smaller stuff inherently too. But the interesting thing about resin prints is that it pulls itself up out of a vat of resin, and there's a little LCD screen that it sits there, and basically the LCD screen bakes. It flashes light on there, which solidifies the resin, turns it from a liquid to a solid. And so you've got a little build plate. Hang on.
Getting real.
This little build plate, it's not that big, but this is what dips down into the resin and pulls up, and it sits there and goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it goes in and touches the screen and bakes. So when you pull this thing up out of the resin, it's got everything that you've printed is like stuck to this, and you have to like scrape it off. But the cool thing about resin is that what you're limited by is how tall it is. So basically, like if you print this much stuff, you could put as much stuff in here as you want, and it won't affect. If you had one mini right here in the middle versus you had 8 minis all positioned around here, exact same time to print. You know what I mean? Because it just means it's sitting there going. It's going like when it gets done to here, it has cooked enough resin.
It's almost like a multi-threaded.
Yeah. Versus filament, if you're making one little model, it's going to be very quick, because it just has to literally lay down the material of one model, versus then you put 8 models there and suddenly it's going to be 8 times as long, because it's got to sit there and draw out all this shit. So
interesting.
Yeah.
I remember you talking. You were saying you might someday look into like selling figurines or something, and I'm very interested in like it sounds like an interesting study in like cost, like if you factor in the time, even stuff like maybe they suck up a lot of electricity, the cost of the resin, the cost of the time of the device sitting there, and I don't know, maybe there's like a post work, maybe you have to cut some little pieces off, or I don't even know, right? But that's all interesting stuff.
There are definitely people who make money from just 3D running. They have little 3D,
I've
3D printer
purchased,
farms in their house, and
I purchased things. These Game Boy games here.
yeah,
This is a 3D printed stand made specifically for Game Boy games. Also, the Game Boy itself is standing on the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. Oh no, on the other hand, my Nomad, shing, right there is on a. Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff from Etsy for my video games.
Yeah. So a couple comments. Yes, topo is very important for animation. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're not getting any, like, in order to do the weighting and stuff, you want to make sure that you're doing certain things around the shoulders and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just perf. It has to do with like rigging and setting up the character and stuff. I don't know as much about all that because I'm not an environment guy, not a character guy, but yeah. And then there were with resin. So filament prints are definitely can go very, very long. Like you can set up a filament print that goes like 2 days or some shit like that. It can get really ridiculous. I don't think I ever had a resin print when I would take that little build plate and like packed it with D&D minis. It would be done in like 2, maybe 3 hours. Like it was now granted they're not ready to go after that. You got to pull them out. You got to scrape them off. You got to clean them. You got to rinse them, and then you got to UV cook them and stuff in order. There's a bunch of like post that you have to do with resin that you don't have to do with filament. That's the nice thing about filament is that when it's done, you're like, boop, you pick it up and then you take off the supports, and there it is. Resin has a bunch of post because it's messy. You're dealing with this like toxic chemical and shit, so you have to like have ventilation and you wear gloves and yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Ooh, yeah. If only that would be great, Vincent. If only Matt would work in 3D, then it would be a no-brainer.
If only, why would I do that?
He could just send me the OBJs and bam, throw them on the printer.
I've got you to make 3D models for me. I'll send you a baby drawing and you can make a 3D model for me. You want to have in my garage is this weird thing I bought. It's a wooden fireplace, and I bought some little miniature bottles and some miniature brooms. And when it's not 110 degrees outside, I'm going to go back into my garage and I'm going to create a little witch scene. I don't know why I'm going to do that.
Little diorama?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe eventually I'll take a picture of it and I can use that promotional something for my game. I don't know. I have no idea. But I was, shopping at Michael's or something with the wife for craft stuff. And I was like, some witch things.
Michael's is awesome. You can buy all that. You can buy so much cool shit at a Michael's. I saw a tweet that was talking about how for tabletop gamers, they were like, never mind going to the gaming store, go to the pet store. And they were showing and I've seen this before, but it never clicked in my head. You go to the section where they have all the crap that you put into a fish tank. Oh my God, there's so much cool stuff in there, and it's like way cheaper and
treasure chests,
yeah,
bridges, piles of gold, coral reef, like a fake coral reef, shark cave, yeah.
Love a Michael's though. Michael's is so fun to just I could spend an hour in a Michael's just walking around looking at shit.
It's one of those few places that I actually enjoy to spend some time shopping at. My wife has a lot more capacity for shopping than I do. It's funny because I love shopping at like a grocery store, an art store, and everywhere else I'm like, nah. But my wife hates grocery shopping. She's like has no patience for it.
Yeah, photogrammetry.
You gotta find that
awesome.
middle ground.
Sam and Moose mentioned photogrammetry, which is very cool. I haven't done any in a while. I haven't done any in like 6 years or something. It's photo scanning something and turning that into 3D models.
Mm.
I'm sure the tech has come a long way since I played with it last, but yeah, it's fun to. It's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think that people have used that for. I got some. Yeah, and also you're absolutely right that digital models. There's a bunch of different websites where you can just get STLs and OBJs and stuff online. People just sell the models directly to people as opposed to you having to print stuff and ship it to them. You can just buy people's models and print it yourself. I got a hold of some models from the original Hero Quest board game, and I think that people just photo scanned them. I think that they just did a photo scan of the little models and stuff, and then it's pretty cool to be able to see like, okay, somebody had the real thing, they turned it into digital, and then I'm able to take the digital, clean it up and adjust it, and then poop it out of a thing, and then suddenly I've got to see
cool.
where are my models. Well, next time I'll dig out some little minis that I've made and try to stick them in front of the camera.
Oh man, I love Hero Quest. That's a classic right there.
Yeah, I've got the guy with the horn thing and the axe. He's the little guy that I've got printed out. But you can buy all.
Does he have the horns and there's a sphere between his horns where they connect?
That's the one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Such a specific look. Yeah.
He's in my closet, but it'd be noisy and I gotta dig him out and stuff. I'll have him for next time.
Yeah, there you go. I guess speaking of next time, what are we gonna do? This time we did some game dev for the first time, or at least some game display. I don't know if we did any dev, but it's playground stuff. It's development. I do want us to draw together sometime, and it can be on our iPads. But I also want to do some tactical stuff. I'm very interested in how you draw with ballpoint pen because it's so different than how I use ink. And I think our processes are very different. I tend to be a pencil under drawing, and then I'll use like a brush pen, and you go straight to the ballpoint, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe some art stuff next time.
Yeah, we got to figure that out too. I have I was, we were both talking about how do we do our iPads on stream, and I was trying to think like how I've got a little tripod and the little iPhone that I use as my camera, and pointing it down like some people do a cool setup where you see the desk and you see the thing and you see their hands. And so like I know that I would need to do that if I did any 3D printing stuff anyway. So yeah, that could be worth looking into. Digging around with cameras and stuff is fun.
Yeah, I want to see some 3D printing eventually too. I think that would look cool, be fun to see. I don't even have a 3D printer, so I find all that stuff pretty interesting.
The other thing that I don't know if I could run them during the stream because they have pretty loud fans in them. The filament printer, no way. That thing has hella fans in it, and it sits there and goes as the thing moves around. That would be annoying. Like I don't even think I could be in the room when the thing's going on. It gets super annoying. But the resin printer, I think it doesn't make any noise in and of itself, but I think it has little cooling fans in there that get kind of loud. But I'll have to. I haven't plugged it in a while. I'll have to refresh my memory on that. But yeah, we can do that.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. True. I've got them sitting right next to an open window, which is good. Yeah. And I'm also using water washable resin, so I don't have to deal with alcohol in this room or anything like that. And I've got a little fan that blows it out and stuff. So yeah, for sure.
I forgot there's a new Hero Quest. I heard about that and then I just forgot. I also don't have anyone to play it with. Now, an online version, Oh, I love the art. Yeah.
It's very cool. All right. Yeah, well, we went a half hour over, but that's fine. That's fairly typical for us. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we'll do this again this weekend or, like we've said multiple times, we're still figuring out a schedule.
During the week. Yeah. During the week might be best. I feel like that's when people are available. Some people like to live lives during weekends and not
be in
front of their computers or
Yeah,
TVs. I
we
don't
were
know.
thinking. I think I was throwing out a Wednesday, but yesterday it just didn't happen, and then today we're like, let's try it later this evening, and you know, we had some pretty good foot traffic, as it were, through here. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we
Yeah,
skip the weekend and go next Wednesday or something. We don't know. We don't know what we're doing.
we'll figure it out.
We'll
Yeah,
get
I
there.
like midweek, and yeah, we'll try it out. Stream it various times and see what sticks. And then by the end of this month, I hope, or maybe early next month, I hope to be streaming regularly myself for Cauldron development during the week, and then we'll work a stream with us in there as well. So
Mhm.
streams are coming.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. Thanks
It's been
everybody
fun.
for hanging out and watching and commenting. And
Yeah.
thank you, Matt, for being such a good brother.
Thanks, John. That'd be a great way to end. We end with some brotherly sarcasm.
It's not sarcasm. Why would you think I'm being sarcastic? All right, cool. Yeah, that's that, I guess. Thanks, y'all.
Good
Good night.
stuff. Ship it.
Ship it.